Hello and welcome back to Radio BFit. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Michelle. It is so good to be back in your ears today.
It really is. I had this moment this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, standing in line for coffee, heavily under-caffeinated.
Mm-hmm. The prerequisite state for scrolling.
Exactly. The doom scroll. And I swear, in like the span of maybe 30 seconds, I saw a headline that said, "Coffee will make you live forever."
Ah, I love that one.
And then the literal next post was, "Why your morning coffee is destroying your adrenal glands."
Of course it was. The classic wellness whiplash. I know it well.
It is exhausting. It feels like that with everything, but especially fitness.
Mm-hmm.
One day we're supposed to run marathons to, have a healthy heart.
Right.
The next day, running is terrible for your knees and you should only do yoga.
But then yoga isn't enough.
No. Then you need to lift cars or something. It feels like a full-time job, just trying to figure out which rules to follow, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And honestly, that confusion, it paralyzes people.
I can see that.
It leads so many folks to just throw up their hands and, do nothing. Or worse, they stick to these routines that might actually be working against them.
Okay, see, that's the scary part. That right there.
What is?
The idea that I could be sweating, suffering, skipping the pizza, and it's actually working against me, that's my nightmare.
I get it.
I'm just looking for the lazy way to get fit. Or, okay, maybe not lazy. Let's look at the high ROI way. I want maximum return for my misery.
We can definitely do efficient. And honestly, today's deep dive is perfect for that. We are going to be breaking some serious rules today.
I love breaking rules.
Yeah.
Which ones are on the chopping block?
Specifically, the rules that have been marketed to women for decades. You know the ones?
Oh, yeah.
Do tons of light cardio, lift these tiny pink weights so you don't get bulky, and my favorite, starve yourself to look small.
Ah, yes, the shrink yourself methodology. The goal is to take up as little space on the planet as possible.
Exactly. And today, we're flipping that entirely on its head. We're looking at why that common wisdom is so often misaligned with female physiology.
So where are we getting this from?
We are digging into some fascinating, and I mean revolutionary, research from Dr. Stacy Sims. She is a Stanford exercise physiologist who was recently on the Huberman Lab podcast and just dropped some absolute knowledge bombs.
Stanford exercise physiologist. Yeah. Okay, so this isn't just some influencer who looked good in leggings one time. This is the real deal.
Far from it. This is hard science. Dr. Sims has spent her entire career looking at how women are not just small men.
Right.
Which is actually a huge problem in sports science. Most of the studies are done on men, and then they just kind of scale down the findings and apply them to women.
Which doesn't work.
It doesn't. So the mission for today is to explain why we need to stop thinking about burning calories and start thinking about building a fortress.
Building a fortress. I like the sound of that. It sounds resilient.
That's the word.
It sounds like something that can weather a storm.
It is. We're talking about longevity, we're talking about adaptive strength training, and how to build a body and a brain that doesn't just look good, but actually functions at a high level for every single decade of your life.
50s, 60s, and beyond.
50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, all of it.
All right, let's unpack this, because when I think of women's fitness, historically, looking at the magazines and the grocery checkout line, it's always been about aesthetics, right?
Always.
The goal is weight loss. Drop 10 pounds in 10 days. That kind of thing.
Right. And that is exactly where this whole paradigm shift begins. If you are training for the scale, you are missing the point of longevity entirely.
So set the stage for us. What is the old way versus this new Dr. Sims way?
Okay, so visualize the classic gym scenario. You walk into a big commercial gym. Where do you usually see the men?
The men are, they're huddled around the free weights, the squat racks, the bench press. There's usually some grunting.
Some grunting.
Dropping heavy things, trying to get swole, as they say.
And where do you usually see the women?
They're usually on the cardio deck. The rows of ellipticals, the treadmills, maybe the stair climber, doing that like steady, moderate pace thing for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
An hour.
Exactly. And the assumption has always been men lift heavy to get big, women do cardio to get lean and small.
Right.
Dr. Sims argues that this approach for women, especially when we're talking about longevity, is fundamentally flawed. If you want to live a long time with a high quality of life, the goal shouldn't be shrinking. It should be adaptation.
Adaptation. It's a biology class word. Break that down for us non-Stanford grads. What are we adapting to?
Think of exercise not as a calorie burner. That's the transactional trap we fall into.
I ate a cookie, so I must run a mile.
Exactly that. Instead, think of exercise as a signal. It's a strategic external stress.
A signal. So you're sending a memo to your body?
You're sending a very loud memo, a very clear one. When you exercise with intensity, you are essentially telling your body, hey, the environment we're living in is tough. It requires strength. It requires power. You need to change your structure to survive this.
So you're trying to
right.
rewire things.
You are trying to rewire your metabolism, your neural systems, and your hormones. You're forcing an upgrade.
Okay, so follow-up question. If I'm just cruising on the elliptical, watching a cooking show on a little TV, maybe reading a magazine, what kind of memo am I sending to my body then?
You're sending a memo that says, things are pretty chill. We don't really need to change anything. Just, burn a little fuel to keep the lights on, but otherwise stay exactly the same.
Per my last email, please remain mediocre.
Basically. That steady-state cardio puts the body in a very efficient state. The body gets really, really good at doing that same thing with as little energy as possible. It doesn't force a structural change.
It has no reason to.
None. But when you engage in the type of training Dr. Sims recommends, which is high stress, high load, you're sending a message that says, we need stronger bones immediately. We need more efficient muscles now. We need a sharper brain to handle this threat. You are forcing the body to adapt to a higher level of demand.
This is a really helpful mindset shift, actually. Because I think most people, myself included, look at a workout as, a chore, a way to pay off a debt. It's punishment for eating.
That is the transactional model, and it's a trap. It's a hamster wheel you can never get off of.
Right.
You can never out-train a bad diet, and focusing on calorie burn ignores the hormonal and structural changes we actually want. So Dr. Sims suggests this key question you should ask yourself before every single workout.
Okay.
You ask, what adaptation am I trying to stimulate today?
Ooh, that's deep. What adaptation am I trying to stimulate instead of how much sweat can I leave on the floor?
Precisely. Are you trying to stimulate bone density today? Are you trying to stimulate neural power? Are you trying to build cognitive reserve for your brain?
It shifts the motivation completely. It's not about looking in the mirror and hating your love handles. It's about looking at your life and saying, I want to be capable.
That's the word, capable. It's so incredibly freeing. Stop worrying about being skinny. Start worrying about being capable.
And the funny thing is, the looks probably follow anyway.
Here's the irony, yes. When you train for function, when you train to be a fortress, the aesthetics usually follow. You look fit because you are fit. But the look is a side effect, not the primary goal.
Right.
We are trying to build a body that is functionally powerful and cognitively sharp for every decade of life.
Okay, so let's talk about the materials for this fortress. If the goal is adaptation and the elliptical lifestyle isn't cutting it, what do we need to do? I have friends who run. They love it. They say it clears their head. They run 5, 6, 10 miles a what? Are you telling me they're wasting their time?
I would never say they are wasting their time, especially if they enjoy it for mental health or general circulation. Movement is always better than sitting on the couch.
Okay, good.
But if we are strictly talking about longevity and preventing the decline that happens with age, especially for women over 50, Dr. Sims is very, very clear on this. Long, steady-state endurance cardio is not the king.
Not the king.
In fact, for bone health, it might be the court jester.
Whoa. The court jester. Shots fired at the jogging community.
I know.
Well, I thought running was good for your legs. Doesn't pounding the pavement build bone?
That is one of the biggest misconceptions out there. People think I run so my legs are strong and my bones are fine. But running is, it's a repetitive, low-impact stress. It's the same motion in the same plane over and over and over. Your body is smart, it adapts to it very quickly, and then it stops building new tissue. It's like, okay, got it, we're good here.
It's efficient.
It's too efficient. To combat the two big villains of aging, osteopenia and sarcopenia, the body needs something much more aggressive. It needs direct positive stress.
Okay, hold on. You just dropped two big scary words there.
I did.
Osteopenia and sarcopenia. They sound like villains in a Marvel movie. The rise of sarcopenia.
They kind of are. Sarcopenia is age-related muscle loss. Osteopenia is age-related bone loss. And they come for all of us, but they come for women with a vengeance.
Why women specifically? What's the deal there?
One word, estrogen. Estrogen is this incredible hormone that, among many other things, protects bone density and helps maintain muscle mass. When women hit perimenopause and menopause, estrogen doesn't just decline, it drops off a cliff.
Right.
And when that protection goes away, If you aren't sending a really loud signal to your bones to stay strong, the body starts to dissolve them. It starts reabsorbing the calcium.
That is a terrifying mental image.
Yeah.
My bones dissolving because my body thinks I don't need them anymore.
It is scary, but it's preventable. The problem is, a light jog isn't a loud enough signal. It's a whisper. We need a shout.
Okay, so what is this shout? What does Dr. Sims recommend to stop our skeletons from crumbling into dust?
This is going to surprise you, and it's probably going to scare you a little bit. Her top recommendation for bone density is jump training.
Jumping. Like playing hopscotch or jumping on a trampoline.
A little more intense than hopscotch. She calls it impact training. And the protocol is surprisingly short, about 10 minutes of hard impact jump training, 3 times a week.
Wait, only 10 minutes. I could do 10 minutes. That sounds like the lazy shortcut I was looking for.
It is time efficient, but lazy is definitely the wrong word. It has to be done with extreme intent. The goal isn't just the jumping up, it's the landing. You want to land with force.
Land with force. Okay, explain that. I feel like every coach I've ever had told me to land softly, like a cat.
Right, and that's exactly what we don't want here. You know how when you see a cat jump, they land silently, like a ninja?
Yeah, they absorb all the impact.
We don't want to be cats here, we want a thud.
Yeah.
You want to create a jarring but controlled impact. That impact sends a shock wave through the skeletal system. Specifically, it causes the bone to bend ever so slightly.
My bones are bending. That sounds bad.
It's microscopic. But that slight bend creates a signal, it's called the piezoelectric effect, if you want to get fancy, that tells the bone cells, hey, we are under stress, we need reinforcement here.
And the bone listens.
The bone responds by laying down more calcium, more minerals, and it becomes denser. It rebuilds itself stronger than before.
So my downstairs neighbors are going to absolutely hate me.
They might?
What is he doing up there? Is he dropping bowling balls?
They might. Maybe do this at the gym or in a park, but that thud is actually medicinal.
Medicinal thud. I like that. I'm putting that on a t-shirt.
Dr. Sims actually compares this type of exercise to pharmaceuticals. She says, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, I always look for an external stress that can invoke a change without pharmaceuticals. And the studies back her up on this. This kind of impact training can reverse osteopenia back to normal bone density within months.
That is wild. You can literally reverse bone loss just by jumping around for 10 minutes. That feels like magic.
It feels like magic, but it's just physics. It's loading the structure so it has to reinforce itself.
But okay, I have to be the voice of reason here. Imagining our listeners, some of them are 25 and spry, some of them are 55 or 65.
Right.
If I tell my mom, hey, go jump off a box and land with a thud, she's going to tell me I'm crazy. She's worried about her knees. She's worried about her hips. Is this actually safe?
That is the real person question, and it's completely valid. Dr. Sims addresses this directly. The fear is that impact hurts joints. The reality is that strength training and controlled impact stabilize and protect joints.
So the joints hurt because they're weak, not because they're being used.
Often, yes. The muscles around the joint, your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings, aren't strong enough to absorb the force, so the joint takes a beating.
I see.
But, and this is a big capital B, but you don't start with the 30-inch box jump on day one. You don't go full Olympian immediately.
Okay, good.
No.
No hurdling cars to start.
You start with progression, you start with low-impact plyometrics, maybe just quick step-ups onto a low stair to get the feel of it, maybe broad jumps on the grass where the surface is more forgiving.
So you ease into it.
You ease into it, or even just jumping rope, but you focus on emphasizing the landing a little more. The mantra to keep in your head is knees over toes.
Knees over toes. I thought that was bad. I remember gym teachers yelling, don't let your knees go past your toes.
That's old science. We now know that training the knee to handle load over the toe actually bulletproofs the joint. But you have to build up to it. And look, if you have a history of injury or you're really unsure, go see a physical therapist.
Get a professional opinion.
Yes. Get a personalized assessment. Exercise is medicine, but you need the right dosage. You don't overdose on box jumps.
Right. Don't blow out an ACL trying to save your femur.
Exactly. Smart progression is everything.
Okay, so we're jumping, we're creating the signal, but I feel like there's a missing piece here. You can't just signal for a building to be built if you don't have the bricks and mortar.
You hit the nail on the head. You can jump all day, but if you aren't feeding the process, you're just breaking yourself down without the resources to rebuild.
And this is where the diet comes in.
This is where nutrition comes in, and specifically, protein.
I knew there was a catch. It's always the diet.
It's not a catch, it's a requirement. Dr. Sims is very specific about protein, and her numbers might shock you. She recommends 1.0 to 1.1 grams of protein per pound of body weight daily.
Whoa, Wait, let me do some quick math here. If a woman weighs,
Mm.
let's say 140 pounds, that's demonic.
Yes.
140 to 155 grams of protein a day.
Yes.
Do you know how much chicken that is? That is a flock of chickens. That is an obscene amount of Greek yogurt. How is a normal person with a job and a life supposed to eat that much?
It is a lot. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's significantly higher than the standard RBA, which is basically the bare minimum to not get sick.
Not to thrive, just to not get sick.
Exactly. But remember the goal. We are building a fortress. You can't build a fortress out of straw. You need bricks. Protein provides the amino acids that are the literal bricks for muscle and for bone.
But practically speaking, 150 grams, what does that even look like?
It means protein has to be the center of every single meal. You can't just have toast for breakfast and a salad for lunch and hope for the best.
No more coffee for breakfast.
No, it's 30 to 40 grams at breakfast, maybe eggs and a protein shake. It's another 40 grams at lunch, a big piece of chicken or tofu. It's a high-protein snack in the afternoon. And it's a solid dinner. It requires planning.
And why is it so high? Especially for women in that, perimenopause window.
It's because of something called anabolic resistance.
Okay.
As we age, our bodies get worse at processing protein. The machinery gets a little less efficient, so we need more of it just to get the same muscle-building effect.
So a 25-year-old and a 55-year-old can eat the same amount of protein, but the 55-year-old gets less benefit from it.
Exactly, which is why she needs to eat more. If you do the jumping and the lifting, but you don't eat the protein, you're sending the signal to build, but the construction crew shows up and the lot is empty.
So you just end up sore and tired with nothing to show for it.
Exactly. It's about fueling the adaptation.
Okay, so heavy lifting, jump training, and eating like a bodybuilder. That is the trifecta for the body. But, we aren't just meat suits. We're brains too.
We are.
At least on my good days, I like to think I have a brain.
And this is where the research gets really fascinating. This was my favorite part of the deep dive. Dr. Sims draws a direct line between how you sweat and how you think.
The brain connection. I always feel sharper after a workout, but I assume that was just endorphins. Yeah, the runner's high.
Or just the relief that the workout is over.
That too. A big part of it is that.
Endorphins are part of it, for sure. But for long-term brain health, we're talking preventing Alzheimer's, dementia, keeping your memory sharp. It's about something else entirely. It's about lactate.
Lactate? Oh, wait, hold on. Isn't lactate the bad guy? Isn't that lactic acid? The stuff that makes my legs burn and makes me walk funny the next day? I thought the whole point of fitness was to avoid lactic acid.
That is one of the biggest, most persistent myths in fitness. We used to think lactate was a waste product, just metabolic trash.
Right, something to be flushed out.
But modern science has totally flipped this. We now know that lactate is actually a premium fuel for the brain.
Premium fuel, so my brain runs on the burn.
It loves it. It actually prefers lactate over glucose when it's under stress. Here is what happens. When you do high-intensity exercise, really hard stuff, your muscles produce a ton of lactate. That lactate travels through the bloodstream, crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it acts as a signaling molecule.
A signal again. Everything's a signal. What is it telling the brain?
It triggers the release of something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
It's a mouthful.
It is, but think of BDNF as Miracle-Gro for your brain cells.
Okay, I can picture that.
It encourages the growth of new neurons, it strengthens the connections between existing ones, and it builds what Dr. Sims calls cognitive reserve.
Cognitive reserve. That sounds like a savings account.
That is the perfect analogy. Every time you push hard enough to spike that lactate, you are making a deposit into your brain's savings account.
And what does that account do for me later in life?
It attenuates cognitive decline. It can even reduce the development of the amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease.
That is incredibly motivating. I mean, looking good in jeans is nice, but remembering my grandkids' names, remembering where I put my keys, that's the real goal.
Exactly. Sweating now so you can think clearly later. But here is the kicker. And this is where the female physiology piece is so specific. This is the part that blew my mind.
What's the catch for the ladies?
It's physiological. Women are naturally more oxidative than men.
Oxidative, meaning they rest faster.
Meaning they use oxygen better. Women are endurance machines.
Ah.
Evolutionarily, women are designed to keep going. They are very efficient at burning fat and using oxygen for fuel. Men, generally speaking, are more glycolytic. They burn through sugar and produce lactate much faster.
So men get that lactate spike easier. Like a guy runs for the bus and he gets a lactate spike and some brain food.
Much easier, yes. Because women are so efficient, they have to work significantly harder to generate that same lactate spike. Their bodies are resisting it. Their bodies want to stay in that comfortable oxidative fat-burning zone.
So a light jog or a Zumba class or a long hike, while they're good for you, they're probably not going to produce enough lactate for that brain protection.
They're great for your heart, great for your mood, but for that specific BDNF release we're talking about, no. You need intensity. You need to push past the comfort zone into the I really want to stop right now zone.
You have to suffer a little bit for the brain game.
You do. And Dr. Sims has a warning here. She calls this mandatory preventative care. And she says the younger you start, the better.
So this isn't something you wait until you're 60 to worry about.
Absolutely not. If you are in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, you need to be doing this now. You are banking that reserve for later.
It creates a real sense of urgency. It's not, I'll get fit when I retire. It's, I need to save my brain right now.
Precisely. But this brings us to the most confusing word in the entire fitness dictionary, intensity.
Oh boy. High intensity. I see this everywhere. HIE classes, HIITs, HI is sleeping. Everything is high intensity now.
It's a buzzword that has lost all meaning. You go to a gym class, they make you do burpees for an hour, you're sweating buckets, you're exhausted. And they call it HIIT.
And that's not it.
Dr. Sims says that is not true high intensity. That is just metabolic grind.
Metabolic grind. That sounds like my previous corporate job. Just a slow, painful wearing down of my soul.
In a way it is. When you do those hour-long boot camps where you're kind of breathless the whole time but never fully maxing out,
Yeah.
you're just raising cortisol, that's your stress hormone, and tiring yourself out. You aren't getting the peak lactate spike because you're pacing yourself. You have to save energy to survive the hour.
Right. If I know I have to do burpees for 45 minutes, I am definitely not doing them at 100% speed. I'm doing them at survival speed.
Exactly. And survival speed doesn't build the brain. So what is true high intensity?
Please tell me it involves sitting down.
You're going to love this. Dr. Sims defines the gold standard as SIT.
SIT. Like sit on the couch because I am an expert. I'm an Olympian at SIT.
I wish. No, SIT stands for Sprint Interval Training, and frankly, it is the most effective protocol for this adaptation we're talking about.
Okay, break it down. How does SIT differ from the boot camp grind?
Okay, so SIT is short bursts, but SIT is even shorter and more intense. SIT is all out, 110% effort for 30 seconds or less.
30 seconds. I could do anything for 30 seconds.
That's the spirit. But I need you to understand what 110% means. It doesn't mean running fast. It means sprinting as if a bear is chasing you and you are made of honey.
Okay, got the visual.
It means you are emptying the tank completely. You should feel like you physically cannot go another second at the end of that 30 seconds.
Okay, so I sprint for 30 seconds. My lungs are burning. My legs are jelly. Then what?
This is the secret sauce. This is the part everyone gets wrong. After that 30 seconds, you rest. And I mean rest for 2 to 3 minutes.
Wait, I work for 30 seconds and then I get to sit around for 3 minutes.
Yes.
That sounds amazing. Why isn't everyone doing this? Why are we doing the hour-long torture classes?
Because of the psychology of more is better, people think if they aren't moving, they aren't working. They feel guilty standing still at the gym.
Yeah, I'd feel like I was cheating.
But physically, you cannot repeat a true 110% sprint if you only rest for 30 seconds. You need that long recovery to refill your cellular energy stores, specifically phosphocreatine, so you can hit that peak intensity again.
So if I don't rest the full 3 minutes, my next sprint is just going to be mediocre.
Exactly. It becomes medium intensity. And medium intensity doesn't trigger the adaptation we want. It's the polarization, the extreme high and the extreme low, that creates the magic.
You're not leaving anything in the tank during the sprint, but you are refilling the tank during the rest.
That's it. So a typical workout might look like this. You get on an assault bike or a spin bike, you warm up for a few minutes, then you go absolutely crazy for 30 seconds.
Eyes bulging.
Eyes bulging, legs burning, regretting your life choices. Then stop. You sit. You look at your phone. You take a sip of water. You recover for 2.5 minutes. You do that 4 to 6 times.
Let's do the math. 6 times 30 seconds. That's only 3 minutes of actual hard work.
Plus the rest periods. The whole workout, including warm-up and cool-down, is done in 20 minutes.
And that's better than an hour of jogging.
For creating the hormonal shift, for building lean muscle, and for protecting the brain, yes, it is far superior.
That is a game changer for busy people.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone says, I don't have time to exercise, But everyone has 20 minutes.
Right.
You could do that before the kids wake up. You can do that on your lunch break.
Exactly. And that's why this research is so empowering. It gives you your time back, but it asks for more effort within that short time.
Quality over quantity, it's dense. It's like an espresso shot versus a gallon of weak tea.
That is a fantastic analogy. Be the espresso.
Okay, I'm sold on the concept. I want to build the fortress. I want the Breen savings account. But I have some fears, and I know our listeners do too. We need to get practical.
Let's do it.
We talked about the jumping fears, the knees.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the bulky fear? I know a lot of women are terrified that if they lift heavy and eat 150 grams of protein, they're going to wake up looking like a linebacker.
It is such a persistent myth, but physiologically, it is almost impossible for women to get bulky without, performance-enhancing drugs.
Right.
Women just don't have the testosterone for it. What happens when you lift heavy and eat enough protein is that the muscle becomes denser, it becomes firmer, you actually get tighter and smaller usually.
And your metabolism gets faster?
You build the metabolic engine that burns fat at rest. You're not getting wider, you're getting harder. You're building armor.
Okay, now I want to pivot to a specific group because Dr. Sims talks a lot about this. Menopause.
Yes.
We touched on it with the bone density, but let's go deeper. I know a lot of women feel like once menopause hits, their body just changes. It betrays them.
Mm-hmm.
Belly fat appears out of nowhere. Energy crashes. And the things they used to do, the dieting, the endless cardio, they just stop working.
That is a very real, very common experience. When estrogen drops, the body's entire metabolism shifts. It becomes more insulin resistant, so it's harder to handle sugar. It becomes easier to store visceral fat around the middle. The body is trying to conserve energy because it senses a massive change.
So this training style, the heavy lifting, the jumping, the sprinting, is this the answer for that specific window?
It is the antidote. Dr. Sims says this framework is essential for maintaining independence and metabolic health through that transition and beyond. Since you don't have the estrogen to tell your muscles to work and stay strong, you have to use the exercise to do it.
You have to be the signal because the hormone isn't there anymore.
Precisely. The heavy lifting stimulates the muscle without needing the estrogen. The sprinting helps manage the blood sugar and insulin sensitivity. It puts control back in your hands.
That is incredibly empowering. It's all downhill from here. I just need a different set of tools.
Exactly. It's a new operating system for a new phase of life.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today.
Yeah.
We've talked about osteopenia, lactate shuttles, piezoelectric effects, protein math. My brain is fully saturated.
We did go deep.
And look, if you're listening and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, like, wait, how many grams? How many seconds? Don't worry.
Absolutely not. We know we're throwing a lot of science at you. If you want a simple breakdown later, BeFit.ai has free articles that make fitness, nutrition, and wellness feel clear and doable. You can grab the cheat sheet there.
Definitely check that out.
Yeah.
But before we go, let's try to synthesize this into a practical week. If I'm a listener and I want to start this Dr. Sims protocol next week, what does my schedule actually look like?
Okay, let's build a sample week. It doesn't have to be complicated at all.
Monday, what am I doing Monday?
Monday, heavy lifting, lower body focus. Think squats, deadlifts, lunges, 3 to 5 sets of 3 to 5 reps. Heavy.
Heavy. Not 20 reps with the pink weights.
Heavy. The last rep should be a real struggle. Tuesday, sprint interval training. SIT. Find a hill or a bike or a rower. Warm up, then do your 30 seconds all out, 3 minutes rest. Repeat that for about 20 minutes total.
Okay.
Wednesday, active recovery and jumps. Go for a walk, do some mobility work, and then do your 10 minutes of impact training. Box jumps, skipping rope, tuck jumps. Thursday, heavy lifting again, this time upper body focus, push-ups, overhead press, heavy rows, same deal, low reps, heavy weight.
And Friday,
you could do another SIT session if you feel good, or just a fun activity, a hike, a dance class, play a sport, something you love.
And the weekend.
Rest. Eat your protein, walk, relax. Let the fortress rebuild.
That actually sounds really doable. It's not in the gym for 2 hours every day.
It's not. It's concentrated effort. It's working smarter, not just longer.
Okay, so let's bring this home. If we had to boil this entire conversation down to the big 3 takeaways, the things to write on a Post-it note and stick to the bathroom mirror, what are they?
Okay, recap time. Rule number 1, train for adaptation, not for looks. Stop trying to shrink. Start trying to build a fortress.
Love it. Adaptation over aesthetics. I am building a fortress.
Rule number 2, jump and lift heavy for your bones. Do not fear impact. Gravity is your friend here. You need that stress to keep your skeleton strong. Embrace the thud.
Embrace the thud and apologize to the neighbors later.
And rule number 3. True high intensity protects the brain. But remember, true intensity requires true rest. If you aren't resting, you aren't sprinting hard enough.
Sprint, sit, repeat.
That's the formula.
This feels different. Usually when we talk about fitness trends, it feels like a fad. Eat only grapefruit or wear a trash bag while you run. This feels foundational.
It is foundational. It's physiology. It's how we are designed. It honors the complexity of the female body instead of trying to force it into a box that doesn't fit.
Right.
And I hope for everyone listening, this feels like permission.
Permission tool.
Permission to stop beating yourself up with endless cardio. Permission to eat the protein, to actually eat real food and fuel your body. Permission to be strong.
And permission to sit on the couch for 2.5 minutes between sets and feel like a champion.
Yes, especially that. That is productive rest.
I think that's something we can all get behind. This has been a real eye-opener. I'm actually looking forward to my workout tomorrow. Might even try a jump or two.
I love to hear that. Just remember, knees over toes. Land softly at first and build up.
Knees over toes. Got it.
And to our listeners, we know this is a shift. You might be thinking, but I've always been told to run. It's okay to change your mind when you get better information. You're not alone in relearning this. We're all figuring out how to be more resilient together.
Absolutely. Just try one small thing this week. One interval session. One extra serving of protein. See how it feels.
Stay strong, everyone.
Catch you next time.